Oh, internet, oh, internet. Is it too early to be singing Christmas songs? It's obviously not really a Christmas song. It's just what popped into my head. We're kind of off the top of our head around here, aren't we? Aren't we? We sure are. What's in the tin? Why do I... Oh, right into it. Why do I ask you what's in the tin when you know what's in the tin? A little extra bearing. This is a hybrid ceramic, I believe. Almost positive. And I like their regular style hybrid ceramics. I like their high velocity ones, but even their standard ones are really nice. A little less up and down play, so not quite the spin time, but still really good. So decent bearing. So I'll leave you there. And then as always, probably the best little mini pouch in the business with a little microfiber cleaning cloth in there. So let's take a look, shall we? Just a standard tin. Their tins are nice. Their tins are decent. It's got a decent texture to the laser engraving, but nothing crazy. So we'll get that out of the way. We'll leave the pouch in here, though. There's our logo for the video. Fidget HQ. All right, so let's take a look. Zenduo Evo. Look at it. So wait a minute. What kind of finish is that? I'll tell you what kind of finish. It's a stonewash finish. So before we get into that, let's just get this out of the way too. It's a little bigger than it looks. She's kind of a chunky girl. Kind of a chunky little spinner here. So pretty thick. Do I have a... Let's grab it. The staple comparison spinner. So stubby. So you can see it's pretty thick. And it weighs 80 point... Can you see that? 80.4 grams. So, pretty heavy for what you would look at and you would think is a pretty small-ish spinner. I mean, it's not huge by any means, right? Stubby-wise, it's about as tall as a stubby, and it's narrower, but it's just so thick that it just packs in a lot of that weight. So, pretty heavy little spinner. So, let's talk about the finish, though, on this. So, I gave it a stone wash. I was kind of debating whether or not I wanted to do a stone wash on this before or after I reviewed it, or if I wanted to do it at all. I kind of really wanted to do it partially to experiment as well with what the stone wash does to a machine finish like this. So, but a lot of my spinners, once I stone wash them, I appreciate them and like them even more, and I thought this one deserved that sort of a review. But don't worry, I did take a quick little video of what this looked like before I stone washed it, so we'll cut that in right here. All right, did you guys enjoy that? So that's what it looked like before we put it in the... Wait, what? Really? Are you sure? The video didn't show up in there? Let's try it again. Let's take a look at that spinner before the stone wash right now. All right, yeah, that's the finish we're talking about. So, again, really nice machine finish pattern on the top. Like, that is just clean. Really sharp. And these edges are just machined really well. Almost perfect. They feel really soft, surprising. When you're kind of really rubbing in there and feeling them, they feel like they'll be sharp. And maybe a couple of them just are just the tiniest little bit, but really not too much of an issue. So if you're really jamming really hard flicks, this guy's got a pretty good amount of weight, like we saw. So trying to stop it and start it, you know, these sharp edges can get to you just a little bit. I shouldn't really say sharp; they're just like machined really well. There's no like real like burrs or anything anywhere. And then, but this finish kind of on the side, just kind of that multi-direction, different machine marks or brush marks that way, and then kind of that stuff going up and down, and just the feel of it. I just really feel like I wanted to stone wash it. So as much as this is nice, I really felt it needed a stone wash, and you know, I wanted to have it in that way for my review. I didn't want to stone wash it later and then have a review out and not have it essentially stone wash the way I really want to try it out. So real quick, under the buttons, the machining is really nice as well. So you got this spot here where the machining stops, which is fine. But here it's kind of hidden with the retention ring. So really just again, a great finish. So there you have it, folks. Into the stone wash it goes. All right, how did that look? All right, thanks for letting me know, guys. I wasn't sure. I appreciate the immediate feedback. Let me know the video didn't cut in there. So, anywho, so yeah, so the stonewash on this did a really nice job. So the biggest concern I had with this finish, and one of the biggest reasons I wanted to do it, I wasn't really sure, but it was that finish on the side. Which wasn't terrible, but it just, to me, it didn't have the kind of quality I really wanted to see in it. And I don't mean that as a slight against the finish, because it's a very affordable spinner. I mean, this with the machine finish, I think is like $35 or something like that. So I'll take that all day. The prices from Fidget HQ you can't beat, so any little slights on the finish and stuff like that, again, I'm fine with just doing that work. And it, again, like you saw, it wasn't that bad at all, but I really liked the stonewash. But again, I also was really wanted to see what stonewash did to a mirror finish. Or not a mirror finish, a machine finish, plus the buttons I like with that stonewash. So the stonewashing that I use isn't quite the pattern I'd really like something on the, say like the Axiom or the Hummingbird, or even those True Spin spinners. Those have a stonewash I really like. I gotta try maybe some different media, but I'm still pretty pleased with this, and then it kind of, for me, looks kind of unique in my own. So, but yeah, so did we get enough up close on this? Let's pop the buttons off. Great Kong buttons, by the way. Really enjoying the Kong buttons. Some of my favorites out there. And they're simple. They're smooth, they work, they provide grip. It's that dish that really does it for me. So when you look at something like, well, we'll just pop this in. Oh, look, I stonewashed that. This one, the machine finish did pretty much go away completely when I stonewashed this. But the buttons that are just kind of flat, especially with some ridges and stuff like that, you can get some good grip. But curved buttons like this, man, really appreciate. So if we look underneath, you can see there was that that machine finish, and you can still see some of the reflection in there. Anywho, so we know how much she weighs, just about 80 grams. So we're trying to do the math in tungsten. In tungsten, if you take the buttons off and the bearings and everything out, it's about 53 grams or something like that. It looks like the body of the spinner alone in tungsten is going to translate to probably in the neighborhood of 150, 155, maybe 160. It's hard to tell because it's going to be press fit, so there's going to be a little more mass than the bearing retention ring would add. So, but going to be heavy in tungsten, so we're looking forward to that. Spin-wise, though, how does she spin? We got 5 minutes in and haven't even talked about the spin. So, spin's good. Spin's really good. So with the machine finish before, these edges were, you saw me talk about it, I wouldn't say sharp, but they were just machined really to a point, much like the Portal. A little sharper than you would find on something like a Portal, and I don't mean sharp in really a bad way, just those edges are right there and you really feel them. The Portal's also a little bit lighter. I think that's part of it too. You really feel those edges because they're so acute a little bit more on something like this. So I think if you've got this and you're a fidgeter like me doing hard pulls all day, that machine finish may get to be a little bit of a hot spot. The other finishes I can't speak to, especially like the one in the black, I think would be fine because the stonewashing takes just the slightest bit, and now this thing has like no hot spot issues. Softness, smoothness all day. It's got an interesting feel. I'm starting to appreciate that more and more with bar spinners. When you spin it, right, your finger never stays perfectly still. And because when you turn a bar, you get some judder. A big part of the characteristic of a bar spinner is that initial, like, little bit of flutter you get when your finger kind of settles in, when your hands settle in. And this one's got kind of a really soft, dampened judder, so it's not actually that bad. Judder, right, judder. It's pretty dampened, feels pretty soft. I'm trying to find ways to describe that because as I've been playing with my Axiom a lot lately, that one's got a really unique one that I really appreciate too. But this thing, especially, it's got we're using I'm assuming it's the Zen Spin because it's Fidget HQ, but pretty comparable in most respects to something like a Hex Super Bearing. Really smooth, really quiet, very little feedback. Hear that? I mean, we're on a block of wood. A nice 6S Design block of wood. Cody's doing some good work over there. Go check those out. 6S Gear. I think I said 6S Design. 6sgear.com. Anywho. But yeah, so the spin on this, and this is their, this isn't the hybrid ceramic. This isn't their super high spin time bearing. We're still getting good spin times on this. Want to take a guess? Let's guess right now on the old table spin. Yes, we did. We got 5 minutes and 35 seconds. Good guess, guys. What about a vertical spin? Wait, what did I say? 5:35? No, 5:51. Almost 6 minutes. On a vertical spin, yeah, that's where the 35 seconds came in. But this time it was 7 minutes and 35 seconds with sort of a standard bearing. So with some hybrid ceramic bearings in here broken in, boy, we could push 10 minutes on a vertical spin, I think, even. So how's balance? Oh, how's balance? That's right. Oops. Balance is like perfect. Look at that, spin all day. You see how gentle I touched it? Like gentle as I could. Look at that, when it just stops in place and doesn't move backwards, that's what we're talking about. Good balance, well machined, excellent, 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 fantastic spinner. The weight, the thickness, it kind of reminds me of, as much as the Chunk and the Grave Raven had a lot of similarities, this to me feels like a chunky version of the Chunk, not really like a chunky version of the Grave Raven, although there would be some similarities, but it's got that sort of a feel. So if you kind of like the size of the Chunk but wish it was a little larger, this feels a lot like that. Again, there's a certain softness to the judder that's hard to explain, hard to describe, but really just well done. Really simple design, well executed. So we've got this side here that is the same width as the buttons, so there's no issue of your fingers catching in between here as you rub. So there's the edge of the buttons is kind of in just a tiny bit. So that's nice. Although I can't really say I've really found that to be an issue with any spinner. I'm pretty sure the Talisman has that cut in like that, and the Portal has a cut in like that, and none of those have an issue when the body's cut in easier than the spinner. But you do kind of feel the side of that. It's easy to push, it's easy to pull. This kind of fidgeting, it's all right for me. I don't know, I feel like I always kind of want to reference this kind of spinning, but I don't really know how many people actually really spin like this. But if you do, it'll be fine. What else? Yeah, so downsides, trying to be consistent about that. Downsides, the finish on this side was, maybe left a little bit to be desired, and the edges of this, the way it was machined and the weight of this guy could cause some hot spots, especially for heavy handling all day. Positive sides, it looks gorgeous, whether or not you throw some stone washing or customize it. It's got a really simple, well-executed shape. It's got a good weight. It's got fantastic buttons. It's got good spin times. It's got perfect balance. The stuff that Raja is doing over there at Fidget HQ, I mean, they really know what they're doing right now. Like, they're starting to show, like, what that's, I don't mean it as a slight, but what sort of like that entry level and kind of like mass market, not necessarily like a bespoke artisanal kind of spinner scene, but like, hey, this is like a spinner that's for everybody and everybody can get in on. Like, they've really got that. They seem to know what they're doing and what the market wants and what the market can handle and what they're capable of putting out there. So just nailing it, just doing hit after hit over there. So it's like Beyonce or, I don't know, Metallica in the 90s, early 90s, obviously. Anyway, anything else to say? I feel like there always is. Good spin profile. Fun to fidget with, very comfortable, all day fidgeter. So dig what's going on over there. Woo, almost lost it. I should say, but I'm starting to realize that with most spinners, the old paper fingers, as I've been calling it, like the super dry hands, this guy struggles with that a lot, but almost every spinner does, unless you're working with like very rounded tri spinners and stuff like that. I'm realizing more and more as it gets to be, colder and colder out, until my hands get that just little bit of tackiness to them. Like when they're super cold and cool and dry, they just don't grab spinners. So this guy does suffer from that a little bit. So, but we're gonna have to see what winter brings us and how we handle that sort of thing. So, but until then, this is what we got. So Fidget HQ Zenduo Evo, fantastic spinner. Can Hobby Timmy approve? 2 awkward thumbs up, y'all, for sure. All right, internet, kisses.